experts will plot to drop the IQ, fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly, suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The poppers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome to Middle Path this Thursday evening. It is so nice to be here with you after a week of some chaos and not being able to do a few shows. On Tuesday, we were going to have Marty Leeds. Marty Leeds actually also had to cancel at the last minute, so it worked out okay. But he'll be back soon to bring us all sorts of goodness, as Marty Leeds does. Good friend of the show. And so I think I did a show Sunday, and then I think I missed last Thursday's show. It's been about a week and a half of my most recent flare-up of, what they call autoimmune disease, what some people have called Epstein-Barr virus, and also I just call HPV. I think HPV is at the root of everything. Those who know. If you don't know, go watch Patrick Jordan's channels. You might not like his style of speaking, but he has very interesting ideas, very compelling, and a lot of people believe that is what's actually going on. Either way, however you like to think of that specific set of horrors, my diagnosed version is a pretty advanced state of degradation, and while I don't want to put that image in your head of me being this very sick person in an advanced state of autoimmune disorder, I do want to be honest about it, and that is, where I'm at. And so the stage after this is generally cancer, and the stage after that is death. So I'm in the advanced but lower advanced state, and I'm healing it. And in healing this, in this journey, as you may know, there are sometimes some flare-ups, especially from things that I don't expect. And that's always the puzzle with these autoimmune types of situations, is what's the trigger this time? And this time, we're about to get real here. So if you don't like talking about poop, you might want to go somewhere else. But I have restarted doing colonics. Colonics are a colon irrigation, a colon cleaning, an intestinal cleansing, similar to an enema, but a lot longer in session and a lot of different times that the water goes in and out. And so it's somewhat intense. It's very, very low on the invasive level. And a lot of people have been into cleansing for many, many years, do these regularly. I somehow forgot they existed. I did them a long, long time ago. I think 14 years ago, for a while on the beginning of what I'll call my actual health journey, where I started to be conscious of, what I put into my body and how much of it and when and all of that. And I had some consciousness before that, but not so much. Anyways, I found myself at a naturopath. I had all of these amazing experiences releasing trauma with her on accident, and we could do a whole episode just on this, but I forgot that piece. And it came back to me somehow recently. Someone mentioned it somewhere, or I don't know. I was just reminded, and I was like, oh yeah, that can be crucial, especially in healing the liver. The liver, as my colonics expert likes to share, is the king of digestion. And our digestion is how we expel toxins and wastes and dead EBV cells, or whatever you want to call those things that are in us autoimmune sufferers, or all sorts of stuff. And so if your digestion isn't working properly, you're not expelling those things. You're holding on to those toxins. That makes you fat. It makes you sluggish. It gives you all the symptoms I have and more. And as my colonics expert also likes to point out, most people, so don't kid yourself, most people are walking around super impacted, super constipated, and not expelling most of their toxins. So, I like to share health tips with people, and especially if you don't have any major diseases. Especially then, you should do colonics before you get to the disease stage, because that is how your body heals itself, is through your gut. So fix your gut and you fixed everything. So I can't believe I forgot for so long. I do cleanses, as you know. I talk about them a lot, especially the master cleanse I really enjoy, and other types of cleanses I enjoy. They help the liver, they assist the liver, they assist in clearing out your digestive system and in supporting your digestion. But a lot of them fall very, very short of actually getting out a lot of the gunk. So yeah, as Marker 113 is saying in the YouTube chat, you gotta let that shit go, literally. We also have Guitar Storms over in YouTube. We've got Cub Beer here on Rockfin. Dakota's here on Rockfin. We have Jasmine in the house. Jasmine, thank you so much for the tip. As always, you're such a good supporter of the show. I really appreciate you and everybody here today. So that's been interesting. So anyways, I'm bringing this up because I had this flare up. And the reason I had the flare up is some of the digestive aids I was taking were a little bit too intense for my body. Was already thrown into shock by even releasing so much at once. And so I compounded it by taking some supports for release in the form of really gentle things like Triphala. If you've ever taken Triphala as a digestive release aid, and digestive support, you know how gentle it is, but you know, not for this system. I react to seemingly anything. So this is the nature of autoimmune. So anyways, I had a real big flare up, and what the flare up consisted of is anytime anything entered my system, from stomach to the whole thing was like being ripped apart with knives for 8 hours. So I would eat just a few bites of something. It would feel fine for a while. A couple hours later, complete horror lasting for 8 hours. Each day I was like, I mean, I'm going to just try to eat again. What if that was just that day? And then I would eat again, and then I would have complete horror for 8 hours. And then I continued this for quite a while. So I'm finally fasting now. If you have this ulcerative colitis type of flare-up symptom ever, don't go to a doctor who's going to say that you permanently have that now forever and need to take this and this and this med. I think, not being a doctor and not wanting to be sued, so having to tell you that you should go to a doctor for some reason, even though they kill more people than any other profession. So legal disclaimer, I will just say that to you anyways. You're smart enough to know better. And instead of taking that type of a diagnosis, which I also knew better, I was like, this is some of the most excruciating pain I've ever had, which is saying a lot, but still gonna do anything but go back there. Got extra colonics. Didn't, now haven't eaten since yesterday, so therefore haven't had any pain since yesterday, thank God. Gonna keep not eating for a while. I don't know how long, maybe 48 hours, maybe 72. 72 seems like the best choice. That's what people usually recommend for like the full reset. So that might be best. Drinking herbal teas, drinking my snake juice, which is the, of course, no salt, baking soda without aluminum, especially from Bob's Red Mill. And most importantly, Johnny found this solution last time I had this type of flare-up with the digestive horrors of ulcerative type of things. Cayenne water. So if you ever have ulcers of any kind, even if yours are much more minor and not literally throughout your entire stretch of intestine and stomach, but any kind, anywhere in your body, you can try this and it works really well. It doesn't make sense to me because like pepper would if I ate a pepper, it would screw me up. But if you drink cayenne water, and I just put like a 1/10 or an 1/8 of a teaspoon in, I like to shoot it kind of. I don't want to like slowly sip the cayenne water. So I put like maybe less than a cup of water, probably a cup of water anyways. And like maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne water and just like slam that and it takes away the pain. It helps the digestion so much. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt going through. So now that you know way too much about my digestion, I like to share these things because I like to help people, and I know there's someone out there right now listening to this going, oh my God, thank God. Now I know what it is and how to solve it. So fasting and cayenne pepper, that's what finally is helping. I still feel it. This is like, what? I probably ate yesterday at like noon. So I'm like 30 something hours in or something, and I still feel it in there. Like I'm not in, I was at like levels 8 and 9 of pain sometimes. It was like ripping me apart. And now I'm in a 1, maybe 1 or 2, right? Like I notice it, but it's not stopping me. the last show I did, I was in pain the entire time. Robert Blonde? Yeah. So if you go back and listen to that, I seem dull in the face and not capable of speaking well. That's why I was actually in a lot of pain. It started after that because I thought it had passed. And so I was like, cool, I can do the show. And then I started the show and then it started again. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to just stop in the middle of a show. So anyways, I'll stop talking about that. I just wanted to share why I haven't been as around lately, why I haven't had as many shows lately, and what is going on, and also some tips for other people to heal themselves. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about the Kybalion again today. We started 2 weeks ago now, and we got into the Hermetic principles. We kind of did a summary of all 7 and got into a little bit of the philosophy of it. And we're going to actually go through each of the 7 and talk about them. So who knows how many we'll get through today, but I know at least we will be talking about the all, which is another way for me at least of saying source, and the concept that everything is mental. Literally everything in the universe is mental. And that's an interesting concept for a lot of us. So we're going to be talking about that. And if you are on YouTube or elsewhere listening or watching this, then you do want to jump over to Rockfin and become a supporter, because Middle Path Thursdays are only for supporters. And also you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and get the audio version in that way by being a supporter there. And yeah, I'm so glad I'm feeling better too. Thank you so much, Angie. I'm happy to see Travis here in the chat. Thank you all for being here. And so let's jump into some stuff. I'll also tell you the chickens are very happy, and the snow did not kill my plants. They gave us a foot of snow. And I say they gave us because I'm pretty sure that was intentional and created. Actually, I just remembered that I also wanted to mention some things about the recent tragedy in, I don't know how to pronounce it because I haven't actually listened to anything about it, the place in Texas. I want to say it's very obvious to me that we have many signs of the false flag going on there. I want to also say it seems to me that there's actual children dead. I want to also say the cops not going in for an hour is somewhat normal. I find it atrocious, horrendous. I find it anti-human. Even if someone gave me that order, I would not be able to stop myself from going to help children, little children. So I wonder if those people were also, in addition to the shooter, mind-controlled or agents of some kind. And I'm not sure, obviously, but it could be, or it could just be they're that good at following orders that they can completely override their human instinct to go in, rush it, and help children. I don't know for sure, obviously, like anyone, that what actually happened, but it just seems like a shit show. And the false flag part seems like the shooter, again, is another patsy that on SSRIs, made to do this perhaps in some way. Clearly outfitted with things that probably couldn't have come into this person's possession easily, like really expensive guns and body wear and other things. So that's also questionable. And also, as often in false flags, was shot. So no one can know. We'll never know what happened to that person or what their story is. And who knows also about the agent that supposedly went in and finally took him out. That also could just be like okay, now it's your time to go in and we'll press the off button on this machine we made and then you can be the hero or something. I don't know. I haven't heard from that person. Maybe you have. And if so, I'd love to have the link to that because I don't know if we've even heard from that person as a society. All the rest is just politics as usual. They're trying to pull all their same stunts, right? And the other thing I'll add, being a teacher for over 14 years, working in many public schools, there are cameras everywhere. And if somebody happened to be at the monitor at the time, they could see through any of those cameras. The cameras tend to be functioning. But in every school I've ever been in, none of them are actually recording. Ever. Period. It's way too expensive for most schools to record the data. What they use those for is a deterrent, just like the concept of the panopticon. If you feel you're being watched, you behave better. That's all. It's not an actual, that's why you don't, people's cars get broken into and they're like, oh, we just don't have that footage. And it's not a conspiracy, in my opinion, that the footage is not there. It's actually quite normal that the footage is there. It'd be weirder if the footage was there. There are some schools that have enough money to record all of the time, or have guards stationed at the recording equipment all the time and be watching and alert things when it happens. I'm sure that that exists, but it's not very common in a public school. It's not likely. So I'm not very surprised about that. And while we can, keep that on the table, it's not a very compelling point if we're trying to convince ourselves or others that something there was planned and went astray. So I just wanted to share those few thoughts on that matter. I'm also obviously exceptionally concerned with humans who have been trained to think that it's normal to leave their children unprotected. To think that it's normal to have things like gun-free zones where you're not allowed to carry a gun, even if you are a police person on the premises, except in states of emergency. We wait for the emergency to happen and then call the people with guns. And then the people with guns sit and wait outside because it's standard operating procedure to not go into an active shooting scene. Right? So that's crazy to me. It seems way more effective to not send your kids to school. Like, God, I've said this for years. Lots of people agree. Homeschool your kid or do anything else. You're sending them to psychopaths who don't know things, who are emotionally unwell, to be corralled with a bunch of other monster children for 12 years of their life. It's insane. And then you're sending them to these places where any psychopath, whether they are MK'd to fuck or actual just random psychopathic murderous people, know that they're sitting ducks because there's no guns there, no protection there, very little security, super easy to get in and kill. So you're going to send your kids to that? Why? Why would you do that? Okay, so aside from that, it'd be really easy to make them not gun-free zones and let whichever teachers would like to concealed carry. You don't have to make any teachers do it to allow the ones that want to do it. In fact, you'd only want the ones that want to do it because the ones that don't want to would be horrible at it. So let the teachers who want to carry, let everyone else do whatever they want, and then you have a little bit more. You could also always have some armed security there who's actually trained, like has seen maybe combat or something and has no job now. Or all kinds of things. So we have a lot of solutions, but what we're going to hear instead is that we should disarm the entire population because that's worked well throughout history and never caused a genocide. All of the 12 different times that we can just clearly see, here's the disarming, here's the genocide, here's the disarming, here's the genocide, all throughout history. No, we'll just not pay attention to that, and we'll just take away our God-given right to protect ourselves in whatever ways we deem fit. Okay, so I think that's all I actually wanted to talk about before getting into the show. Yes, and thank you all. Joey is here on the chat over on Rockfit. Nice to see you, Joey. And obviously, no child should ever die, especially at the hand of a psychopathic gunman. So our hearts go out to anybody who ever has to lose a child. And here we are. I always like to remind you that I have a site, and it's rogueways.org, and there's so much stuff there. There is my soul services, my shamanic and spiritual healing and teaching, my channeled writings and books that I have created together with Source. You can always shoot me a message. You can check out also orgone, medicine bags, crystals and stones, and in fact, we'll go check out the orgone books and more tab to see. There's all kinds of good stuff, and we've got more medicine bags in, so if you were awaiting and you wanted one, what is beautiful about these is they're made by a beautiful woman. There's all kinds of different designs. I see now that many of them are not showing up. Oh, here they are. So make sure you scroll down to see all of them. And what you would do is you would buy one and you would put in the notes section which one you want. And if the picture is still here, that bag is here. Technically, that system could go awry, but so far it hasn't yet. So I trust that you'll get the one that you love. So just tell me which, and if you didn't, we could do refund or whatever. We could figure things out. But it's worked so far, and so just let me know, like the white one with the red bead or whatever it is you want. And then, as always, I will either send you some medicine if you would like. to fill it with some medicine that I am guided to add for you to put into your bag. I don't put the medicine in for you. The tradition is that you do that yourself, and so we're keeping as close to the tradition as possible. Or you could just get the bag and put your own medicine in it if you have some, and medicine is anything. It can be plants, it can be herbs, it can be a little vial of blessed water, it can be some salts that are maybe blessed or have good intentions in them. Little stones or things like that. Anything that you feel spiritually connected to and is uplifting or protective or good for you, you can put all that stuff in there. And I have tons of stuff to share with you. Like I said, if you don't have any, you just make that in the notes. I want this one, and yes, please add the medicine. If you don't say anything, I just pick a bag for you and add the medicine or send the medicine with it anyways. So the medicine bags are here. I also wanted to show you. Oh, was that it? Oh, it wasn't it. The soul guided meditations are about to start again for June. We do it twice a week. If you can't make it at 5 p.m. Mountain on Sundays and Thursdays, it is recorded and sent to you. You can always do it whenever you like. And then one day of brightness is coming up. So I'm so excited. This is, I think, the 6th one. We've been doing this for a year and a half, and it's always so awesome. The best people choose to attend this. We have the best day. It is a community-created field of love and upliftment and healing, and people just receive so much throughout the day. It is so beautiful. And this summer solstice, I am super excited. We somehow ended up with all women. So I hope the men still feel like they can join in and receive from that. In fact, I think you might receive even more. Because men receive very well from women traditionally. And so we have myself, of course, Catherine O'Shea, animal communication specialist and teacher. As always, we have Ellie Molina this time. Super excited about Ellie. She's a psychic teacher and empowerment coach. You saw her on Rogueways. You may have seen her elsewhere. She is an amazing soul and very skilled at teaching you psychic skills. So if you wanted to access your spiritual skills even more deeply, that will be fantastic as well. And Gin of Gin and Tonic Wellness is also going to be with us. I'm super excited. Gin is, much like myself, someone who does not give a fuck what anybody thinks about anything. Very good teacher and very knowledgeable. And what I love about Gin is she goes to the ancient texts themselves and unveils so much that society has perhaps forgotten. So she is going to share with us too about perhaps acupuncture, perhaps astromythology, perhaps these ancient texts of Taoist magic and otherwise, and who knows what else. She's a superstar. So Catherine, as always, is amazing. If you've been to any of the shows Catherine's done or any of the One Day of Brightness events, Catherine brings us super deep and gets us really bright and shiny and healed and brings us messages from our guides and allies. So super excited about this. This is June 18th this year, which is a Saturday, even though this says Sunday, which I'll fix. And it is all day. It is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but we take lots of breaks. We get movement in usually, and it flies by. You wish it wasn't over, and then it's over. So everyone who goes knows that is the truth, and you leave way more energized and uplifted than you came. That's the whole point. The brightness, the one day of brightness is to brighten you and to get that brightness further out into the universe through you. So you're doing yourself a huge favor, and you're also doing the whole world a huge favor. So super excited. Dakota says, team, one day of brightness. Woo! Very, very stoked. So grab your tickets now if you haven't. We do sell out from time to time. Usually, actually. So if you would like to come, grab your tickets now, and I will see you there. And otherwise, we will get started on our actual content today, which is the 7 Hermetic Principles. All right, so that means if you're on YouTube or elsewhere, you're going to have to jump over to Rockfin, and we will see you there, hopefully. Otherwise, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first.